If there is one lesson that music should have taught us repeatedly by now, it's that a banger is a banger is a banger regardless of who sings it. Now, you can be the most self-aggrandizing, tedious music snob on the planet. Doesn't change the fact that One Direction wrote best song ever, and it absolutely pops. But the trouble with this lesson is that sometimes a song can be so good that it completely obscures the artist involved. Sometimes, in fact, the band or singer who recorded it needn't be a band nor singer at all. In fact, sometimes, in the case of these household names, they needn't even exist in the first place. My name is Adam Cleary, and these are 6 bands who never actually existed in real life.
Cleary, could you hurry this one up, please?
Well, I was going to take as long as it takes, mate, because it's or we can do it really quick, that's fine too. Number 6, the Blues Brothers. Nope, despite the fact your dad still has a t-shirt with them on, the Blues Brothers were not in fact a band, they were merely a spin-off of a Saturday Night Live skit. Now, if you've not seen the film, and fair enough, it was released in 1980, John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd get involved in all kinds of scrapes trying to save their old orphanage. Now, yes, they did produce an album for the purposes of this film, and yes, it is really good because it's got Ray Charles and Aretha Franklin on it, and there is, yes, a tribute act who are still touring to this day, but that is it. No real band, and hopefully no real orphanage. Number 5, Spinal Tap. Mockumentaries are all the rage these days, and oh look, there goes one now. But when Rob Reiner released This Is Spinal Tap in 1984, most people who saw it had no idea whether or not what they were seeing was real or not, and spoiler, it wasn't. However, that did not stop literally millions of people from walking into record shops, and kids, ask your parents what those are, to ask if they had any Spinal Tap. Now yes, 2 hit singles, 2 spoof hit singles, and a slew of bootlegs ripped from the film were one thing, but that was it. No actual band, even if Lick My Love Pump might be the single greatest title I've ever heard. Number 4, Eddie and the Cruisers. Almost the most commercially successful band on this list, Eddie and the Cruisers had an album go quadruple platinum and a #1 single. Except, of course, it wasn't Eddie and the Cruisers, was it? It was, where are they? John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band, because they did the soundtrack to the film. The film, which was creatively also titled Eddie and the Cruisers, is sort of based on the story of Elvis, where this rock and roll heartthrob goes missing and this young reporter sets out to find them. Now, absolutely nobody saw this in the cinema, but then a year later it found its home on HBO and belatedly its recognition. Number 3, The Commitments. Yes, a heartwarming real-life tale this, as director Alan Parker plucks a series of actors from complete obscurity based purely on their musical talent, and then simultaneously puts them in the greatest Irish film of all time, but then also gets them to put an album out which sells 12 million copies. Now, they're all covers of classic rhythm and blues songs, as is the plot of the film, but they still struck enough of a chord with the general public that people to this day still think they were a real band, which is quite an achievement, really, given the whole premise of the film is just about one working class lad who sets out to prove that everybody in Ireland hates you too. Number 2, the Archies. You know what it is, right? Fair play to the Archies here, because the all-American group of friends from Riverdale put aside their petty squabbles, their girl problems, their concerns over their social standing, and the fact they were literally a comic book to become a pretty passable bubblegum pop group in the 1960s. Their most famous song was, of course, Sugar Sugar, which, yes, you're right, of do-do-do-do-do-do fame, and they remain the only fictional band in history to top the Billboard Hot 100. And just for a bit of context, right, the year they did that, they had to beat the Beatles' Abbey Road, Led Zeppelin's Led Zeppelin 2, and the Rolling Stones' Let It Bleed. Wow! Number 1, the Monkees. Some people, and by some people I mean grade school age Marge Simpson, would argue that the Monkees were a band first, then a hit television show the second, but the fact is, they were not. The Monkees were first and foremost a fictional band name without any members. They were a TV executive's response to the success of the Beatles' Hard Day's Night show, and, well, they filled it with musicians and they released all the songs off the TV show, and for like 4 years in the 1960s raked in filthy, filthy lucre. In that time, they had 4 #1 albums, a slew of hit singles, including I'm a Believer and Daydream Believer, and also gave Jimi Hendrix his big break by letting him open for them in 1967. Not bad, really, considering that's not even Michael Nesmith's real hat. So there you have it. Those are 6 fictional, I'm getting the wind up symbol, bands who never existed in real life. Let me know what you made of it all in the comments below. Of course, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. I've, of course, been Adam. This is Rock Culture Music, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.